Hello, this is my review with spoilers for a Minecraft movie. Now if you want a review without spoilers, I also have a video for that, and there's a link in the description. First off, about me, I've been playing Minecraft for over 10 years now, and throughout that time have watched a lot of Minecraft videos on YouTube, so I'm very much a fan of the game. Firstly, it's obvious that either Mojang or people that really understand the game worked on it, which was amazing to see. I really liked the Mojang logo when the movie starts and the little do-do-do-do animation. This made it instantly feel like a proper Mojang product rather than it'd been passed on to another company. When it was first announced, I was scared that it would be passed to someone that wasn't part of the community and didn't really understand the game, but I was very happy to see that that wasn't the case. I think we can all agree that this was a movie by fans for fans, and although I haven't seen any criticisms of the film, the only way I could think someone wouldn't like it is if they weren't a fan of the game, are not in the community, or misunderstood what the movie is supposed to be. I think this was a difficult task. Minecraft is one of the most popular games ever, and each player plays the game differently. This means that it would have been really difficult to make a movie that pleased everyone completely, so some of these criticisms are going to be unfair and you'll probably disagree with them. I think we should remember that a lot of work was required for this, and this was not rushed or made just for money. The creators showed that they actually cared about the product, and this was the best movie that we could have got. And we should be grateful that it's not worse, and that the movie honors Minecraft. When the first trailer came out, people didn't really like the sheep and llama and thought they looked too silly. I didn't agree with this. I mean, yes, they looked silly, but I think those people needed to go back in the game and look at those animals, then come back and say if they don't look Minecrafty. From the first trailer, it was obvious that the film was going to be silly, and that's exactly what the game is, so it's nice to see it wasn't taken too seriously. The start of the film was rushed, and if this was any other film, I would have said this was a problem. However, because the film was silly, it fit. Steve's story leaves a lot of questions unanswered. It reminded me of Weird, an Al Yankovic's story, which was a film I also very much enjoyed. I think with a full backstory, the film would have taken too long to start. It's already 1 hour and 40 minutes long, and adding the backstory might have meant removing other scenes that were the reason that we're all here, to see Minecraft. Also, I think it was a lot funnier like this. I love the part where Steve returns to the mines as an adult, and the same guy is there, and still he doesn't like Steve being there, and Steve has to kind of dodge past him to get in. It just made no sense, which I think perfectly set up the film as something we shouldn't take too seriously, because as stated before, Minecraft is not a serious game, and this helps the Minecraft world fit into the movie's reality. The film does a good job at being Minecrafty, and I think some of my criticisms where the film does things that are not part of the game are mostly unfair. I think that translating a game to a film does require some changes, and what I'm going to mention probably was thought about and changed because, for example, it didn't look very good. I did think that I would prefer if the block sizes were accurate to the game, but like I say, this might have not looked right. I have no idea about the process that they went through. This probably was considered, and I probably would be saying the block size didn't fit and they should have changed it if they did go with the actual size. Also in the game, blocks kind of appear smaller than they are because you can jump onto them, but they're half your size. This leaves unanswered questions like, would the characters in the movie still be able to jump on a block? Because that would look very weird. I thought that every skeleton having a flame bow was too much. It's very rare for them to spawn in the game like this, and I don't think it added anything to the movie. Like I said above, this could have been done because viewers found the arrows difficult to follow at night, so they had to make them brighter. This would then make this an excellent choice because it adds something that is actually in the game. I did like that every enchanted item was shining like it is in the game. This was a cool feature. I think some of Steve's items were enchanted when he comes in and saves them from zombies, but I could be wrong, which would make sense because he's been there for so long. I didn't like how creepers worked. They didn't explode unless provoked. This would be a nice game feature. I am against creepers in the game, but for the film, I found those scenes were only tense because of what we expected the creepers to do, rather than how they actually behaved. If we removed our knowledge of creepers, they weren't a threat in the film, and the scenes don't make sense. The creeper farm didn't work. There was nothing to be worried about, just don't hit them and you'll be fine. Also, I felt like the creeper farm scene could have been better. No creeper farm looks like a load of creepers in a massive cave, and at least add some cats to the background. They could have even done a joke with a cat where maybe the cat saved them from the creepers. Maybe have a cat that acts as a sheepdog to the creepers. I think something like that would have been funnier, and it didn't take me too long to come up with. It just looked unfinished. I did like how they included redstone with Steve's chicken cooker. This was a good way to include the redstone community without including something that seems very complicated and difficult to understand. The style of it seemed like something that the average player could make, and it also didn't alienate people that don't understand complicated redstone, while including that side of Minecraft for people that do. I like how when mobs died, they dropped their items. The piglins turned into pork chops, the skeletons turned into bones, and the enderman dropped an ender pearl. Also, the blocks breaking and turning into smaller items was nice. I noticed that ghast and villagers sometimes sometimes use their in-game sounds, which really made the movie feel like Minecraft. It just helped to connect those two things, because although it looks slightly different, you were reminded of the game. There might have been more than the Gaston Villager sounds, but those were the two times I remembered. That pig step made into the game was also very cool and showed how connected the people that made the movie were to the game. It would have also been nice to hear some C418 music in the movie, maybe in the credits. That was a bit disappointing. The Ender Pearl scene with Steve and Garrett was in the trailer, but I thought I would mention it here because I really did like that. I thought it was a good representation of a player's first interactions with an Ender Pearl, discovering what it does and kind of going, that was cool, but that's the only one I had and it's very difficult to get. I thought there were a few scenes like this which captured how it feels to play Minecraft for the first time. Like the hole that Garrett falls into when it's night and they're being attacked is the type of thing a player would do. Dig a hole to get away, then dig to the side and block it off so monsters can't get in. I thought this was great how Garrett kind of discovered what Steve had already had to do on his first night to get away from the monsters. There was also a scene where Steve shows his first house, which was made of dirt. And a scene where Steve realizes he can destroy and place blocks and starts breaking a lot of dirt and placing it down. I thought these were very good representations of players' first experiences. It's a very unique feeling in games to be able to alter the terrain, so I do feel like a lot of players would have started off that way, just placing dirt in amazement. Can I say that the house that Henry builds was unnecessarily big? Firstly, there was not enough time for him to collect all those blocks, and for me, a smaller house that does the same thing would have been more realistic. I know that's a weird word to use here, but there was no added functionality from the house being that big, and it didn't make sense. The cameos and references were nice, I had no problem with them. I don't think I missed any of them, but I could have done. They were all very quick, and there's a lot of famous Minecraft people, so I might have not recognized someone. I saw DanTDM, Lizzie, /LD Shadow Lady, and Mumbo Jumbo. They were bidding for Steve's stuff. It was nice to see them and showed that the creators of the film were in the Minecraft community and understood how important people like that are. These Minecraft YouTubers really helped show what is possible in Minecraft and inspire many Minecraft players. Jens was a waiter in the restaurant that the vice principal and the villager were eating at. I think it would have been nice if he got more screen time, but I know that people that gave cameos aren't actors, and sometimes giving them speaking roles can make the scene not work very well. The Technoblade reference was nice. I didn't watch Technoblade, but I thought for fans that moment was excellent. Also, it worked as a joke if you don't know the reference. Like there's some backstory with Steve referring to the pig with a crown on as like a legend, not a king. Something like that said, which would be funny for people that don't know, so it worked both ways. For me, I think it would have been nice to see people like Stampy, who I grew up watching, but as I stated earlier, there are so many different Minecraft players and so many different Minecraft YouTubers that it would have been impossible to add someone that satisfied everything without every extra being someone famous, which I think would then have distracted from the movie because you would then be looking in the background constantly for the next cameo. I think they made the right choice though on who was in it. These are people that are famous now, and there are a lot more Minecraft players and viewers now, so it's more likely a viewer will recognize who they put in. A lot of things in the film were from Minecraft Legends or Dungeons. I haven't played either of these games, so I probably missed some stuff. When I saw the boots with feathers on them, I thought this was a reference to feather falling boots, but these were boots from one of the other games. Personally, I think it would have been better if they were feather falling boots and there was a physical design to enchanted items, but my opinion might change if I play the other games. The Enderman scene where Henry looks into his eyes, I thought didn't really add anything to the story. At some points of the film, it was like they were reminding us that creative people don't fit in. Every time I felt like this was stated and never shown. I think I would have just removed that message from the story or shown the characters struggling a bit more. I did like the effect the Enderman had. It did kind of behave like an Enderman, where if you just keep staring at it, it will stop and stare at you. It's only when you look away that it attacks. When you're playing the game and this happens, you're staring out of fear of being attacked by it, so I think that was a good way of showing Henry's fears, and it's an interesting way of seeing Enderman. Like, we're not staring because we're scared of the Enderman, we're staring because the Enderman is making us scared of them. I thought the Illagers were done very well. I think the baby zombie scene was funny, and their strength was accurate. I didn't really pay much attention to the outside of the Woodland Mansion, but Steve did mention the giant mushrooms, and when they were going away from the mansion, there is a giant red mushroom. I did notice that with the giant red mushrooms, there was no dark oak trees. This was disappointing to see, but like I said, I didn't pay too much attention to the outside, so I could be wrong. I thought the piglins' gold swords could have been a bit more yellow to make them obviously gold, but I assume that they would have thought of that, and it probably looked better if they weren't. Now, the plot was mostly good. Like I said, if you watched it not taking it too seriously, it's great. I do still have a few problems with it though. Steve being released from the Nether made no sense. Unless I missed something, releasing him was actually against what the piglins wanted because he could now help them out. I thought maybe they were doing a Herobrine thing and having Steve kind of turn into Herobrine after years of being locked in the Nether. Then Steve would be the villain of the movie and would betray them at the end. but no. I also thought maybe the piglins can't go into the overworld without being zombified, which is in the movie, but they get around it with a potion. I just thought releasing him made no sense, and it would have been better if they came up with a reason or just stated it was to move the plot forward. They said something like, getting the orb would be too easy without you, something like that. Something that kind of breaks the fourth wall a little bit. The piglin that they built, I thought was a bit weak for how people were responding to it. Like, it never really did anything, but was supposed to be scary. Other films have done this, where you actually look at what the big scary thing has done, and it's just looked scary. The nitwit villager at the end being voiced by Matt Berry was funny. I think more films should do that, have a famous actor having small roles. I think his voice was perfect for the villager, and the scene wouldn't have been the same without him. I did like the Minecraft moment where something like, we're going to have to do some mining and some crafting, Minecraft, was said. It was great when the fourth wall was broken a little bit. Like, also with the villager, the waiter asked if they were finished, and the vice principal says, no, I think he's Swedish. I did notice, and I don't know if this was done on purpose, but the orb looks like the center of a beacon, and there was a point where it was put into a box on top of the nether portal and a purple beacon light came out of it. I don't know if it was intentional, but I do think that the center of a beacon might have been in the designer's minds when they made the orb. When I first heard the nickname Garbage Man, I thought the film was going to do something that I've seen other films do, but that isn't really right. I was glad to see that it wasn't an insult joke about his job. Like, he used to be somebody, but now he's just a garbage man. Just because someone earns less money or has a job that you wouldn't like to do doesn't mean that they should be given less respect, and I'm very thankful of the bin men that collect my rubbish, because what would I do without them? And it was nicer to see people's personalities and actions being more influential to how they were treated, rather than how much money they make. It made me think of Back to the Future, which is a film I do enjoy. Although the film has nice messages about respecting people, but at the end where the lives are seen as better, it's because they make more money, and his dad kind of becomes a bully. Just seems a bit stupid. I found the film's ending, although the characters all had successful businesses at the end, was more about following your dreams and respecting other people, rather than earning lots of money. We even saw Garrett, who wanted those diamonds not because he was greedy or that wealth is good, but because he was struggling financially. And I think that's a better message for children, to respect everyone and that everyone is equal. When I was writing this script, I found that Dawn was the only character I couldn't remember the name of, and I wanted to know if this was just me, because when I looked up her name, I was surprised that it was Dawn. It just didn't ring any bells. Did they just not say a name much? That's not a criticism. I'm not good at remembering people's names, and I was surprised that I remembered as much as I did, so it might have just been me. One thing I did find really funny is the ending, where they're making that game. What was Henry doing with that circuit board? He had a monitor in front of him with a game on it. Was he programming the game from the board? It just made me laugh. Anyway, those were my thoughts. I would love to hear what you thought in the comments, and goodbye.